Cat Camp! My name is Dr. Kris Chandroo. Most people call me Dr. Kris. And what am I doing here? Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing here. We're talking about cats. But how are we talking about cats? We're gonna talk about cats in a very specific way. So I am what we call a conscious veterinary practitioner. And what does that even mean? Well, I'm a certified conscious life coach from Dr. Shefali's Conscious Coaching Institute, and I'm also a veterinarian. And so what we do is we bring all of that goodness together and make something really beautiful when it comes to you accessing veterinary care. So why do it like this? Well, when something is coming up for your cat, some problem, an illness, some issue, something is also coming up for you on the inside. And what this means is we just aren't treating a cat, are we? No, we're treating a relationship. And when you're treating a relationship, it's gotta be done with understanding and passion and togetherness. There's no better way to do it. Because this is the point of life, no? Share each other's journeys. Grow together with these beautiful, amazing creatures. So, Cat Camp, I wanna share 3 stories today. 3 stories. And so sometime in the future, you could be like, wait, I'm trying this one thing, it's not working with my cat. I saw this on Cat Camp. We're planting seeds today, so you can go back and say, yeah, that's something I wanna grow for me and my cat. The first story is about nail trims. The second story is about your cat and its cat carrier. And then finally, we're gonna talk about something called your cat's Bermuda Triangle. This is gonna be awesome. Nail trims, all right. No matter if you've had a cat for a couple of weeks or a couple of decades, nail trims can be a thing. But I gotta tell you, I've never had a problem doing a nail trim. Why is that? What's the magic? What's the secret? Well, it's simply this. Whenever I have a nail trim to do, I simply say this. Hey Tara, can you do this nail trim?
I'm the one that does it. It's not the vet, it's the technician. And I have a whole bunch of tips for you guys to help you with your kitty cats at home.
So Tara is my amazing RVT. See, you need a good team. With cats, you need a team to make things go well. And we took some video of her doing a nail trim on my cat, whose name is Lenny. And what you're gonna see is, for Lenny, and I would say he's not a marshmallow cat. A marshmallow cat is what we call, you can poke, prod, kind of do whatever, and they're just along for the ride, they're not worried about it. Which is very different from what we call tactical survivors. These kitties are, you have to meet certain needs in terms of their emotions and psychology and behavior before you can go into some sort of intervention like a nail trim. And so Lenny's kind of in the middle. He's this cool cat I picked up in Cuba. Someone unfortunately had damaged his bum, and I was working with some vets out there, and I saw him and I said, hey, yeah, you can come home. Well, it can kind of help if they're a little bit sleepy and slow compared to hyper and fast.
This is what you don't do. When you come face on, they now know they have areas that they can run away. So he can back up easily. He can run that way if he wants. Even if I were not to put him between my legs and try to clip his nails, he can back away and run away. Okay. Same thing, if you're putting them in the chair and you don't have help, they still have multiple areas that he can try to escape. So even if I were to put my body on top and try to clip his nails, he's able to get away. That's all right. All right, so we call this the wedge. We're gonna cross our feet in the back. Tuck your kitty between your legs. And squeeze tight with your thighs. Grab your clippers. And then I put my hand underneath their head like that so they can't go forward. I use my chest to push them down as well. And then you pop their nails out. Clip. So he's already trying to back up, but he can't because my legs are in the way. Good boy, Lenny. So if your kitty is really struggling, then we can we'll try the towel. The paw that you need comes out. And then you wrap them up like a little burrito, nice and tight. And then shove them right back in the wedge. Boy. And then the thunder shirt, for those kitties who don't like the towel, first wrap just goes on, second wrap nice and tight, and they go floop.
There's nothing wrong with doubling up your efforts. You can use the thunder shirt and the towel at the same time.
What I do is I kind of grab the whole leg up to the hock. With one finger I kind of push forward. Actually, it's not good. And then I press on the little jelly bean underneath. As soon as you press that, it pops your nail forward. So then you can see on every nail there's a quick. It's the blood supply to the nail. You'll see where it ends. And then it becomes thin at the end. If you're afraid to clip that quick, just clip off the tip that's really sharp, just like so. And if your kitty is struggling more than 3 seconds, it means we have to switch how we're positioning them. And it's really important to give them love after and treats.
If they're not bolting or running away from you right afterwards, then you've done a good job. You've stayed within a psychological safe zone of your cat. So the story here is that sometimes little things make a big difference. Body positioning, how they feel in their environment, what their level of energy is. And there's so much stuff we didn't even get into. There's counter conditioning to the towel, to the clippers. You know what, we'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about the Bermuda Triangle. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the cat carrier. Now, honestly, my life now, for the last 2 years, has been as a mobile vet. So for a lot of my clients, the cat carrier is kind of like gone from the equation. But for so many of us, including me, I mean, what if my cat needed some emergency surgery? I would need to go to a facility. There's a cat carrier involved. Now, there's a lot of information online through trusted sources, Jackson Galaxy, some great blogs and stuff out there that can teach you how to counter condition or create positive associations of your cat to the carrier. But why do that at all? Why do that at all? I know there's a struggle when they're not used to it, but where does that even come from? Well, today, in our story, I'm gonna show you a video from a cat's perspective of what it can be like to be in a cat carrier. Let's watch. Now, these video clips come from an online course that I made for cat people. It's called Stress to Success, the essential guide to medicating your grumpy, feisty, or reluctant cat. So your cat's hearing all this, and they're starting to figure out what's going on, and their heart rate is starting to rise. So in the carrier we go, and now I want you to listen and experience what your cat experiences. So, what came up for you when you were watching that? If you're a kitty cat and you have like no context to the alien mothership that you've just been placed in, going through different sounds and the beam of white light, your pupils are just dilated down and then they get opened back up and then you're inside of a building and then you've got that, you're spinning around. For us, it's just a few degrees of rotation on our wrist. For them, it translates into this. It can be scary. And remember, fear in cats doesn't need to mean jumping, hissing, pinned back ears. It can be frozen, doing nothing at all. And so if they build up fear to the carrier, the next time it's worse. And a lot of clients that I have as a mobile vet, putting their cat in the cat carrier, it's scratches and stress and pee and poop, and it's just a whole lot of pain for everyone involved. Counter conditioning or giving positive associations of that cat carrier to your cat is really important. The more goodness you can put into that carrier, the better it is for you and your cat's relationship. All right, my last story today is something called your cat's Bermuda Triangle. So what is that even? Your cat's Bermuda Triangle is a space in which fear and stress can diminish and become transformed into something else far more positive. And when would you need to implement your cat's Bermuda Triangle in your cat's life? It's the day that you've come home from the vet clinic with some sort of medication, pill, tablet, liquid, injection, sub-Q fluids, whatever. And it's not going well. It's not going well. There is a way to know the truth of the matter. Can it go well? How would I know if it can go well? What is my cat saying to me? Because anytime it doesn't go well, it's actually your cat communicating to you. And you've got to take in that information and put that into the care and love and treatment plan for your cat. Bermuda Triangle gets you there. I'm going to show you 2 cats that did not want their medication at all. And within about 5 minutes, we found their Bermuda Triangle and they accepted their medication at the end of that process. These video clips came from my online program, Stress to Success. Let's check them out.
Zora can be reactive and sometimes feisty. We did the olfactory kickstart and she approached the towel. By encouraging this type of exploration, we're starting to change her emotional state. Zora said no to the towel touch technique, indicating that we needed a non-towel technique to further vanquish fear or stress, therefore making her more agreeable to new things, like medications. Zora did not like pinch inhibition, but showed a preference for a pressure wrap. Whether they are food motivated or not, we take our 3cc syringe, cut the tip off, and fill it with something that smells good and is yummy. By having good experiences around the syringe, we are starting the process of simple counter conditioning. Some cats need you to first place the syringe right in their food bowl so they get used to it, and others will take food from it right off the bat. Zora is now made to feel positive about the tool that we use to administer liquid medications, the syringe. For Zora, it just took 1 to 2 minutes for simple counter conditioning. And remember from our groundwork that we treat the room before we treat the cat. Zora prefers to be in this room on a bed. So this is where we start. While using her pressure wrap and the leg wedge, we now start to give her more food via the syringe. In effect, we are also making her feel good about how we position our hands on her body before we give the medication. We now pick up the syringe with her medication, we put a little bit of food on the tip, and start to give it. This medication is fenbendazole. Even with this medication that does not taste like food and has a different texture, Zora's emotional handling and simple counter conditioning allows her to agree to new things. Even as the aftertaste begins to make her salivate, there is no struggling greater than 3 seconds. Zora still passes the 3-second rule. Because we worked in partnership with Zora and listened to what she had to say, things worked much better. Zora might not love the medication, but at the same time, she's agreed to it. If we keep things on her terms, things can go very successful. The right emotional handling, simple counter conditioning, and form of medication allowed her fear and stress to disappear.
That kitty, Bad Zora. Oh my god, I love that cat. I'm really into old cars, and I got this old Celica, and I want to put on the side on the tires, Bad Zora. We love Bad Zora. So if you look at Bad Zora, it was like 5 minutes between, no, this isn't for me, to, oh, I'm in a different emotional state, and I'm able to therefore have some behavioral flexibility and accept this new thing, and I'm okay with it. It's awesome. So let's explain this Bermuda Triangle in a bit more detail. The first part I call emotional handling. For me, this gets into something called the 80% rule. And what that means is 80% of the success with your cat when giving a medication, sub-Q fluids, whatever, happens before you even touch them. It's all in the emotional handling. You've got to find out how they want to be handled. And there's a way to do that. Second part is simple counter conditioning. New objects that may result in fear or have something kind of noxious about them, like a poke or a bad taste, need to be associated with something positive to increase their chances of acceptance. And then we have form of medication. This simply comes down to different cats have different preferences. What will work for one cat will not work for the other, and there's a flexibility within there. So if you got all of these three components together, your chances of success with medicating your cat go so much higher. Now let's talk about Ruby. Ruby's nice and feisty.
Ruby started out in a fearful, reactive state. The olfactory kickstart added some positivity to the mix. She said yes to the towel touch, indicating that a towel wrap could further induce calmness for her. We're going to use a pillar to increase her comfort and our own by keeping her hands out of her mouth, and some gel caps to eliminate bad flavors. You can see video 15, the 5-minute crash course, if you want more information on pill splitting. Everything we've done up to this moment is to change her emotional state so she is more accepting of new things. With a little bit of time, she accepts the pillar as a non-threatening object. While being handled in her preferred way, the pillar is simply used to deliver food. An object that could be scary is now being accepted. This is simple counter-conditioning. Place the gel cap in the pillar and coat it with some food or butter. Ruby, who is very reactive, still shows no fear. We simply hold the sides of her mouth, push the pillar to the back, and depress the plunger. Because we've taken care of her preferred handling technique and gave her counter conditioning, there's no special way that we needed to hold her head. Most of the work happened before the medication ever touched her body. One of the biggest signs of success is right after the medication, they go back to doing something they were doing before. Ruby shows no fear of the pillar. In fact, she'll eat off of it again. We have found her Bermuda Triangle. So we can go from this to this.
Yay, Ruby! Alright, Cat Camp. If you ever need to find your cat's Bermuda Triangle, you can check out how to do it at I Will Help Your Cat courses. Till next time.